guys, it's Stephen here. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2019. I've just got back from the cinema for my first film of 2019. It was Aquaman, the DC Universe's Aquaman. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit today, but I want to say before we go into the film, make sure you do subscribe if you like hearing some opinions on some new films and discussing all that kind of stuff in the comments section. It's a new channel discussing this, but I'm going to try and do my very best for you guys and offer my honest opinion on where I'm coming from each time I review a film. But today we're going to look at the visual feast that is James Wan's directed Aquaman.
Your half-brother, King Orm, is about to declare war upon the surface world. The only way to stop this war is for you to take your rightful place as king.
Now, I want to start this review with some context. I am not a big Aquaman fan in terms of I don't know much about the lore behind these films. In general, I'm not like this kind of superhero expert, really, to be honest. I've got a bit of a passing interest in most of this stuff, but I have approached and watched pretty much all the most recent superhero films that have come out. I've pretty much covered all the extended Marvel Universe and all the DC Universe. And in general, I enjoy these films because they're largely fun. But what I do want to say is that I don't have this kind of base of reference for all the lore and all the characters and all the kind of backstory for Arthur Curry's Aquaman. So I'm not coming at it from this angle. I'm coming at this as someone who's basically a blank slate and neutral. But I think that obviously offers a different perspective. If you're a fan of Aquaman, I can say immediately off the bat that you're probably going to enjoy this film. For me, it was a little bit more complicated. There was some kind of blurred lines between where I stood and where I wanted it to be stood, if I was being honest. Now, I can say from the off, it was quite a fun film. I mean, the pros for me immediately, the thing that stands out if you've seen the trailers or any form of advertising for this, is a beautiful film. This is a film full of colour. It absolutely pops off screen, and some of the visuals and some of the scenes are genuinely gorgeously rendered and animated, and it's just a lovely colour palette. Obviously the sea allowed for all these vibrant blues, greens and turquoises, and even the Kingdom of Atlantis itself allowed for all this gorgeous fluorescent colour that seemed to just kind of radiate from every structure in their kingdom, and all the kings and all the ocean scenes were beautifully done. It was definitely easy at the eye at times. It was also largely quite playful in tone. It was less Batman versus Superman, more kind of Wonder Woman, in the sense that it had a sense of humour to itself. Batman vs Superman and the Snyder films were known for being quite droll and quite serious. This one escaped that. This was a lot more colourful, it was a lot more playful, and it tried to entertain the people, and it did leap from these incredibly epic scenes to another incredibly epic scene. In general, just looking at these sea creatures, it was fun. There was always something interesting and something new to look at. There was a whole variety of weird and wonderful adaptations on the things that live at the bottom of the ocean. There was strange and wonderful kingdoms and different characters. If I was a young kid watching that, I would have been absolutely in awe. It was obviously a very creative film in that aspect, and I've got to say as well, fair play to James Wan for actually going for it. He took a lot from the comic books according to the reports I've read about the film, and it clearly obviously had a massive influence on the film, and I guess that's one of the reasons why many people who are a fan of the comic books will love this film. I don't want to go too heavy into spoilers, but if you are a fan of Aquaman, seeing thousands of armoured crabs at the bottom of the ocean in the middle of a huge war with sharks and kind of massive jellyfishes and all this kind of stuff, and something even bigger coming along, well, it's just something very special to look at. And there were some lovely moments as well where they touched on his backstory as a kid growing up on the surface world, obviously a half Atlantean, half human kind of hybrid thing, and it showed how he started to realise his skills to the world, and that was lovely. And that was something that I actually wanted to see explored more, because I really like those moments. That's my first major criticism of the film, is that it didn't actually show these kind of bits where he was realising what he was capable of more. There's one great scene, which is kind of, it's very early in the film, so I don't feel too bad spoiling this, where he's in an aquarium and he realises all of a sudden that all these fish kind of surround him, and it's great, it's lovely. I wanted to see more of that. I wanted to see him explore his relationship with these sea creatures and start to kind of really feel like he owned the sea. For me, it never really felt kind of like he got there, it just kind of happened. And on to Jason Momoa himself, he was kind of good and also kind of bad. I mean, I wouldn't say bad as such, but he kind of underwhelming at times. He was obviously a very physical character. He obviously looks amazing as Aquaman. He really suits that role. He put in a very physical, exuberant performance, and he obviously relished playing it as well. In general, he was a good fit for Arthur Curry, but I feel like they tried to cast him or write him a little bit similar to Hemsworth's Thor in the Marvel Universe, but he didn't quite have the kind of comic timing or the subtlety to deliver those punchlines. It just felt a little bit flat at times when he tried to drop a joke, and it could have been so much more funnier. I think that actually would have helped the tone of the film, given the fact that at some point you've got some crazy kind of big octopus plays and drums. It felt like the kind of film that should have embraced its silliness even more, in my personal personal opinion. It could have been even more lighthearted and even more playful than it actually was. I wasn't too impressed either as Patrick Wilson as the Ocean Master. Essentially, he's a strange brother and whatever. It didn't kind of work for me. He felt like a little bit of a two-dimensional character. Could have had a little bit more, I don't know, emotion to his character. He was kind of lacking on that front. I thought Nicole Kidman was okay as their mother, and in general, I wasn't that bothered by Amber Heard as well. But she didn't quite have the chemistry with Jason Momoa, and that was obviously on both of them, not just on Amber Heard. I thought they hadn't really got to where they were portrayed to be at by the time it kind of all kicked off. You know what I mean when you see the film. There wasn't really any real emotional connection between the two, in my personal opinion, of course. Some may disagree there, but it felt like it tried to get somewhere that it hadn't really justified on that front. In general, my main biggest criticism is that Aquaman himself felt like a watered-down version of Thor, no pun intended there. He felt like they wanted it to be something that maybe he couldn't quite be. I understand why they went for that. It's obviously been such a popular character, but he could have been a little bit more unique as a person, maybe a little bit more rough and ready. They tried to play him as almost a little bit like Jack the Ladder's kind of thing, and that actually would have suited him if he'd been a little bit more cocky, I think, if anything. But as it is, I think the lines are a bit blurred, somewhere between kind of dopey and adorable and strong and thing and a bit kind of cocky. Maybe he should have been more towards one way, and I think he would have added a little bit more charm to his character, but at the same time he still was a fun portrayal of Aquaman. Don't get me wrong, this was not a bad film, and maybe for me as someone who isn't familiar with Aquaman, maybe that's why some of the scenes didn't quite hit home, but I can't say that I didn't enjoy some of the bits. I did. There was large, huge sea creatures in massive battles and loads of colours going off and loads of fun things to look at, but for me it wasn't quite as, I don't know, well written as say Wonder Woman was. I thought that was a lot more enjoyable. I thought the flow was better. I thought the dialogue was incredibly better. This felt a little bit corny at times, but not necessarily in a good way. And there were some moments where like little kind of guitar licks kicked in as Jason Momoa kind of walked into scene, and I thought, it made my skin crawl a little bit. But I would still think in general, if you're a fan of Aquaman, you probably are going to enjoy this. It's a good, solid film, but it's not a great film in my opinion. It depends where you stand on superhero films. If you're a fan of them, you're probably going to enjoy this. For me, it was okay. I don't feel bad about seeing it. I don't feel like a waste of my money, and you'll probably enjoy it too. But anyway, guys, that's just my thoughts. Let me know in the comments what you make of Aquaman if you've seen it already. Also, go check out my review of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Spoiler, I enjoyed that one a whole lot more. And guys, let me know if you want me to review any more films going into 2019, because I'm looking forward to doing loads more stuff on this channel. As ever, these are just my opinions. I'm happy to be told that I'm wrong. Alright, that's what the comment section is for. So get in the comments below, like this video, subscribe if you're new to my channel. In a bit.